So today I wanted to follow on from my concept ideas video of season 6. If you want to check that out, I'll put the link below if you haven't seen it already. So today it was just more about analysing mistakes and decision making. Now I have done a couple of previous videos on this, but I feel that there's always more things that you can look at and more things that you can delve into. So my name's Dracula44, thank you for taking the time to check out my video. What I'll be doing is analysing various mistakes that I've made and various decisions that I made correctly. Now, before I get into it, of course, do remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. Alright, let's get into the video then. So, of course, we've now got the height advantage, which is a good thing. I've been shot, so I ducked some cover to heal up, which is fine. This so far is okay. You know, my friend is keeping them busy. They smoke out, which is fine, not really a big deal. And of course it's then just trying to keep the advantage as much as possible. Now, one error that I do make in a moment is that for some reason I decided in my infinite wisdom to drop down and of course give away my height advantage, which, okay, I know sometimes you can be shot from up on a roof, but normally I would always try and keep the height advantage. Now, I know that I did manage to fool the Bloodhound with a decoy, which is surprising considering that they don't leave any footprints for a Bloodhound, and I then duck around the building and decide to heal up. Now, the only thing I will say is that, you know, maybe I went a little far away from my friend. I mean, although I am telling on Mike to back off, I've left him quite a way away, leaving him maybe a little bit vulnerable and is on his own, which you'll see in a moment. Unfortunately, it went the worst case scenario, and he gets down. This now leaves me against 2 players. Not an ideal situation. Now, I do gain the height advantage again, which is really good. And I'm hitting my shots a little bit better as well, which is definitely an advantage. Managed to knock one down. A mistake I'm making is still using the wheel, but this is older footage, so instead of pressing up on the shield battery, I take a little bit longer to heal. And then I give away the height advantage very cheaply by jumping down for some reason, and I didn't throw out a decoy on the roof either, which was again very silly. I do use my ultimate. Instead of swapping weapon though, I then decide for the reload. Luckily my ultimate clutches out, but to be honest, in a different situation, that really could have been the death of both of us. So I look at that and I say, was that a good play? Was that a top play? No, it wasn't. It was very lucky, and I managed to win out, fortunately, very handy, but it was not an ideal situation. And this is why I analyse it. And I would recommend, if you guys ever, you know, like, sometimes feel like you're not progressing in the game, or you're kind of like, you know, thinking, my God, what was I doing there? Record a bit of footage where, you know, something went wrong, and take the time to watch back the end bit. You don't have to watch all of it, just watch back the end bit where you were killed. Sometimes you won't see anything that you did wrong, and fair enough, but other times you will, and it will really help. Now you can see in this one, again, I used the ultimate. This guy, you know, clearly didn't have much chance, and I downed him. That was a very easy encounter, to be honest. Really couldn't fault that in any way. Probably take a bit too long looting, and then healing up, and then I'm still using the wheel. As I've said in previous videos, if you use the wheel then do a shield battery, it takes about 9 seconds, and if you do it from just pressing the up key, then of course, or whatever button it is to do that, because I know PC and Xbox slightly different, then of course it takes 6 seconds, which is a lot less time. Does make a huge difference, and this is something that I'm trying to get out of the habit of a lot more, because for some reason automatically I keep on using the wheel, which is unfortunate. Now, of course, like anything, I'd always remember to try and you know, get within range of the enemy before taking shots, and I'd always recommend burst firing and then moving and never staying still, because again, it makes it a lot easier. Now, in this particular encounter, of course, you know, this one, the Loba splits off, and this is what you want. You want a one-on-one situation always, if you're fighting outside of a building. If you can get the opportunity, do it. Fight them one-on-one, and it's much easier. Now, I didn't ping this gold Spitfire. I told my friend on Mike about that, because he had one anyway, and so did I, but he wanted the gold one, so I gave it, of course, to him. Now, so far, with that particular thing, decision-making, absolutely fine. Won us the fight. I got another kill. Brilliant. Now, this particular last bit is where maybe I look back and I say, you know what? This should have been a lot better and a lot more successful. So we're waiting a little bit. We realise that there is still one left. I believe it was an Octane from the Lobers team. I see him in the building. He shuts the door. I throw up a decoy. Don't gain control of it. Force him to kind of come out. He comes out shooting at me, which is fine. I then swap weapon, fire from the hip, and miss pretty much nearly every shot. I don't know what I was doing. We then get third-partied by another team. Now, instead of me just moving, I don't understand this, actually. I look back and go, what was I doing? I stand still, I get downed, and we get eliminated. What an absolutely awful error. Absolutely terrible. Now, someone on this occasion attacks us. I flank, and of course, then we take him down. No problems there. It's always the way then that if you can flank round behind somebody, of course, you're more likely to gain that tactical advantage, do more damage, and of course, gain that extra upper hand. And especially if you've got your teammate with you, that if you've got a mic or something, it's very handy to be able to do that. Randoms, well, you can still do it, but less so, shall we say. Now, I do go for, of course, the Eva. Again, as I've said, an Eva's a really good gun. I see where the other person is. I see the shield disappearing, so I realise they've got blue shield, which is actually better than what we've got. And I see them running over there. Now, I am saying to my friend, well, let's wait until they come up here, because hopefully they'll think that, we're going to be gone. Unfortunately, they don't. I try firing the Prowler too far away, which again is a disadvantage. And of course, then I use my ultimate then to go from there. And I use the Evo 8 to finish. Touch and go could have been better, perhaps. I could have waited a little bit more and been a little bit more patient before firing. I think Mirage's ultimate is all about patience, letting people fire into the decoys first, then doing something. However, that's because I'm a Mirage main. If you're not a Mirage main, of course, you probably won't really see the big deal about that. But that's just something that I should have done. Now, coming over to this clip a little bit later in the same match, we hear some shooting. I see a Bloodhound scan, because of course we can always do that. I'm waiting for my teammate to catch up with me, because usually I'm ahead. And of course, it's much better for us to be fighting as a team, rather than, of course, fighting individually. Because individually, it's a lot easier to, of course, lose those battles. If you're 2 against 1, you're going to have much more chance. Now, he puts the totem down behind the tree, which is absolutely fine. We come running around, and of course, see lots of people. Unfortunately, the Revenant, I believe it was glitching all over the place, so I didn't get to hit him, which was an absolute nightmare. I don't thirst for the downed kill, because it's not mine, and unless the other team are dead, I wouldn't get the kill anyway. And unfortunately, I tend to lose the Watson somewhere. I'm not quite sure where actually she is. I believe it was actually down below, but unfortunately, audio in this game is a little bit lacking at times, and of course, it goes from there. Now, unfortunately, my teammate is now getting shot, which is really unfortunate, so perhaps we put ourselves into a bad position, because of course there were 2 teams here and not 1. Managed to down the Bloodhound, which is absolutely fine, but it was really touch and go. And I used the ultimate then to get away, just in case anyone else is nearby and behind me. Now I duck cover behind a rock, still using the wheel, unfortunately, so again, adding on just a couple of extra seconds, which could make all the difference in regards to maybe reviving my teammate or healing up. Little things like this do make such a difference within a match, and you don't even think about it. You really don't. You don't even think of a couple of few very valuable seconds make such a difference. I come over to my friend, I revive him, of course the Mirage goes invisible. However, of course you can still hear it, and the Revenant glitching all over the place still knows, and of course, yeah, my colleague gets downed again. Now, I do go for a bit of a risky play here, to be honest. Probably should have backed off, just grabbed his banner card when able. This was a bit dodgy, and of course, we've come up, and I get downed, unfortunately, and of course, my teammate does as well. Now, although I've got a gold knockdown shield, I could have actually crawled into the storm to maybe try and get away, but I think it was a bit out in the open anyway, and of course, then I just get absolutely finished off, and I die. One of those things. So the idea behind this video, as I say, is just to point out little things within my game, which maybe you've come across before, or just to say, look, with decision making, have a look at your footage, analyze what you've done occasionally. Don't watch like hours and hours of footage. Never any point. You won't learn anything, but just little clips, just little bits here and there, and you can learn. Unless you are the top prolific player and the absolute best, then fair enough, you probably won't need to do this. But however, if you're not, there's always things within the game that we can all improve on. Now you can see here we waited, which was fine. I realised then that for some reason the caustic isn't spitting out gas like ever. I'm strafing like crazy, firing then, burst firing the Prowler. I quickly loot, which is the idea, just in case any other teams heard it, and of course then I would heal up and reload my gun. Now with this particular clip, this is all about waiting the right moment, timing it correctly, attacking when the timing is right. Because again, you know, a lot of things in Apex, I mean, you don't really think about it, but a lot of it is about timing. Now we run up to a care package, I see a purple shield, I ping it for my friend, he manages to grab that. Now we both got purples, and it's a case of just like that bit of waiting game. Now I'm not the biggest pacifist myself, I'm quite a much more aggressive player. My friend Pickle Viper is the opposite actually, he's much more passive, so it's kind of a blend of the two kind of play styles, and everyone is different in how they play. So some would be much more comfortable to sit back, lock down a building, snipe and shoot people that way, and others like myself would be much more full on, wanted to charge at you. I wouldn't recommend charging a caustic or a Watson in a building, or even a Revenant particularly, but however outside in the much more open is much more the kind of areas that I personally prefer to fight in. Buildings I tend to avoid for exactly those reasons. Now here we've heard a couple of people moving around, we've heard movement, that's why I said duck behind the wall. I do a Bloodhound scan, I pick up 2 hostiles. Now at the moment they're not anywhere that near us, they know that I'm in the vicinity because obviously I've scanned, but what I'm waiting for is to see if they come out pushing or whether they're going to wait. Because again, if they come towards me and my friend, we've got sometimes like a bit of an advantage because we would have shots on them and we could do some damage before we've done a full-on encounter. I'm using the sort of little log thing in the middle of the grass just as a bit of cover, and then my friend actually hears someone else around as well. So again, this is now a bit of a sort of a tricky situation. We don't want to be sandwiched between 2 squads, because that means instant death. Unfortunately, you know, the likelihood is if 2 squads attack us, we are not going to come out of that alive. So it's now like, right, okay, we don't want to push 1 squad, we got to now wait our particular moment. Now, it's like anything, I say to my friend, yep, they're in the building. I believe it was a Watson and a Revenant. So again, don't want to push a building because a Watson is very strong in a building, and actually Revenant can be as well, especially with his Death Totem and the radius of those silence grenades. When it disables any of your kind of abilities, it can really make such a difference. Not maybe so much with Bloodhound, because again, his scan would be the only thing you'd want to use, unless you're using Beast of the Hunt. But however, I'm like, right, okay, I see footprints and everything, and I'm like, right, let's push. Now, one thing I should have done here is I should have scanned. I didn't. Don't know why. And literally, I see the Watson stuff. I then start shooting at the Loba, and for some reason, just in a moment, I decide to scan, and I get shot, taking damage. Now, that means I have to back off. Why I did it that way, I do not know. It was late last night, to be fair, and maybe perhaps a little bit of tiredness when I recorded this, but however, it's kind of frustrating to watch back that little bit of play and go, what was I doing? That was terrible. And I do make a couple of mistakes in this particular clip. And the reason I'm showing it is not because I want to say, like, oh, I'm the best player, I'm a top pro, because that's not the case. I'm just saying, look, you know, I'm a good player most of the time, to an extent, but however, I can make mistakes, and so can most people, and we can all try and cut these out by just little things that we take note of, and just analysing it. You know, it is so good to just analyse your gameplay, if you're actually interested in becoming a better player. If you're not, then obviously you won't bother. Now, the Watson, for some reason, jumps out, probably because of the ring. Of course, as we all know, Watson outside of a building is very weak, and my concept ideas, I've got some more that I'll be adding in the future, and I will be adding some about Watson and what we should do for her as well, because I like to see her have something for the outside. Now, the Revenant goes for the revive. Luckily, the good old Spitfire takes charge. Absolutely fine. Now, we didn't have time, unfortunately, to, of course, loot because of the ring. I then used the bunny hop, which I did do a video about as well. If any of you are unsure about it, check it out. Yeah, so I run out of the storm. I'm in the circle. I look round and I'm like, where's my friend? What's he doing? And then I realise he's been a complete idiot on this occasion. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't think he does either, but yeah, words fail me on that one. So I come running back and I'm like, yeah, I am not going to be able to get you for that. That's absolutely just the worst thing ever. And then I get attacked by a team. Now, I do manage to down the one, which is fine, and I use the log to cover and reload. But unfortunately, I haven't got any big shield batteries left. Now, I do lots of shots, and I take away his shield as well. Now, what should I have done here? I start firing randomly to try and buy myself time, but what I haven't seen is that, of course, his colleague has come round, and he's obviously telling him on mic, he's healing, push now, you're fine. And, of course, it results in me dying. Very, very unfortunate indeed. So look, that is pretty much it as regards to the video on this occasion. I just wanted to kind of, as I say, just point out a few things within gameplay that you can just see that just, you think, what was I doing? And you make a note of it to never ideally do it ever again. I mean, that's the ideal. But, I think like these games, I think that these are very hard games to play sometimes. I think, if you're tired, if your mind isn't on it, if your focus isn't there, we can all make excuses, and I wouldn't ever recommend or say, oh, that's an excuse, but however, I would definitely say that there are things that we can all pretty much improve on. Unless you are a top level player, then you're probably pretty much perfect, which is fair enough, and that's kudos to you there. But look, that's pretty much it for me for regards to this particular video. I hope you found it useful in some way, and maybe will help you reevaluate and just look at what you're doing and help you improve your game in some way or another. We tend to all have areas that we're weakest at, and then areas that we're really strong at. Weapons that we're maybe not as good with, weapons that we're really strong with, things like that. So it's just something that to bear in mind and take on board and look at it maybe just when you get a chance. So just remember for me to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. If you did like the video and found it informative in some way, a like really helps me out. And of course, if any of you do want to subscribe for future videos, I'll be posting as many as I can. My next one will be a concept ideas part 2. I should be posting that in the next couple of days. Because obviously there are some more things I want to just think about regarding ideas. I don't want to rush it. I want to make sure it is top-notch ideas and good content, and ideas and feedback and things that we can all kind of discuss that hopefully we can take forward, and maybe even Respawn will actually hear at some point, so that would be absolutely amazing. But otherwise, that is it for me on this particular occasion. Thank you very much again for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers now.
Reloading. Yeah, that must have been the last one, because no one's revenging.